All right, 102. Let's go. All right, welcome everyone to our careers webinar. And today we're going to be talking about careers here at UpKeep and kind of like this transition between maintenance, working in the field, and also technology working here at UpKeep. So if you go to the next slide, I want to share a little bit more about us, and then I'll tell you all a little bit more about what we plan to cover today, and then I'll introduce all of our speakers and panelists that we've got. So a little bit about us. Hopefully you know, UpKeep, we are a service-first company that builds software designed to make maintenance easier for technicians and managers everywhere. We've got a mission. Our mission is to empower maintenance teams to revolutionize their business. We've got a big vision too. Our vision is one where maintenance, reliability, and operations professionals work united under one department that we call asset operations and use data as the key to collaboration and your success. A little bit more about us. We're passionate about serving the maintenance and reliability industry, solving problems and improving lives through technology. And we've got a super close-knit remote team that includes maintenance and reliability veterans that help bring this mission to life each and every single day. So that's a little bit more about us. Let's get into what we're going to be talking about today. So the goal for today, hopefully you're all here for the right reason. Today, we're going to be sharing a little bit more about UpKeep's culture as you explore potential future careers within our company. We're actively hiring. So this webinar is for you to learn a little bit more about us, UpKeep, some of our UpKeepers here on this team, and learn a little bit more about our culture. Hopefully you're here because you're looking to learn a little bit more about hearing stories of fellow UpKeepers who have actually made this transition working out in the field in maintenance and reliability and wanted to use their skill set to also help others through technology working out in the field too. All right, next slide. A little bit about me. My name is Ryan. I'm the CEO and founder of UpKeep, and you may or may not have known this, but I also made this transition. My first job, I was a chemie from Berkeley. My first job was actually working in a manufacturing plant. I was out in the field. I was in water tanks. I was, rolling my sleeves up and, working as a process engineer right alongside the maintenance technicians, the engineers. And I firsthand saw this problem working in this space. What I saw was that technicians weren't using software that was designed for them. And I had this belief that technicians out in the field deserve better and made this transition from working in the field to building tech for workers working in the field. And that was my journey. But I think you've probably heard enough from me. I'm excited for you all to meet all of our speakers. We got 4 amazing speakers that have made this transition from working out in the field over into technology for others working in the field. Why don't we go ahead and do a quick round of introductions of our 4 speakers. I will pass the baton over to Gary. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Oops, are we on?
Hello, Gary. I believe you are muted.
Oh.
Let's move over to Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie, and I am the HR operations generalist at UpKeep. Prior to this role, I worked at a food manufacturing plant for about 4 years. It was a TPM facility, and I supported about 250 employees, including those who worked in our maintenance, sanitation, and production departments. I oversaw anything and everything HR and safety related, and I'm really happy to be able to be a part of this today.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephanie. Great to have you here. Let's see. Is Gary back? Do you have audio, Gary? Oh, still nothing. Oh no. All right, let's pass it to Jeremy. I promise you all that I was working literally 5 minutes ago. Jeremy?
Hi, I'm Jeremy, currently a sales development rep here at UpKeep, help qualify potential new clients who've shown interest in the platform. Previous role was a 24/7 plumbing technician and field service. Previous role, some of the services we included like high pressure water jetting, cameraing for televising, like locating sewer lines for new construction, for any issues, and grease trap maintenance for fog compliance. Put me in a lot of different locations with all of our customers across all the industries UpKeep serves. Really happy to be here and a little bit nervous.
All right, let's go over to Nate.
Thanks, Ryan. Hey, everybody. I'm Nate Parsons. I'm a product manager here at UpKeep, and I've spent over a decade in the maintenance and reliability space now, the majority of that being in aviation specifically. So I was actually supporting military fleet operations by trade. I was an F-18 power plants mechanic, and that eventually evolves into program management, quality assurance, and all the other different billets you hold in the military. From there, I actually moved over to more of the maintenance, repair, and overhaul facilities for aircraft reworks, as well as business aviation rework. And then from there into component manufacturing. So I've seen just about every walk of life that maintenance has to do within the aviation space, at least.
All right. Thank you, Nate. And I think Gary is restarting his computer. Oh, let's see if Gary's got audio. Gary, you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you guys fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Apologies, gang. I don't know what happened. Everything just went sideways for a minute. Hello, everyone. My name is Gary Wood. I am a senior implementation manager here at UpKeep. I work with clients during the onboarding phase of their asset operations / CMMS project implementation. And I have 25 years of experience in manufacturing to include the textile, rubber, consumer goods, and food and beverage industries. Nice to meet everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for the quick round of introductions. Again, what we're going to be talking about is, really a little bit more about our culture here at UpKeep, and you're going to hear some stories of our fellow UpKeepers that have made the transition from working, out in the field into tech, as you're exploring potential future careers, potentially here at UpKeep. So what I would love to do is kick this first question off with roundtable answers. And I kind of want to ask each one of you, what led you to making this decision to transition from working out into the field into tech? And maybe we could start with, why don't we start with Gary?
Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, good question. Although I was very successful in the manufacturing maintenance teams in the workspace, I wanted to help more organizations at a larger scale. My teams were on average above the bar 90% in PM compliance and machine uptime measurements. Not only that, but I also never had a major incident manufacturing workspace because of the OSHA standards that I held at high regard through OSHA's training. After much contemplation and discussions with my wife, we came to the agreement that I needed to address a career change. I wanted to reach the masses, okay? The plant walkthroughs day after day seemed stagnant and, kind of routine. It was kind of taking a toll on me. I wanted to share my knowledge, my experiences that I've been through. So I switched over to, into the tech space and just, I'm much happier with everything, much happier with my career. I love helping all maintenance teams with whatever. So I'm just really stoked about it. And, we know manufacturing has been kind of slack embracing technology. We're fine with PLCs, robotics, digital drive systems and all that, but CMMS systems, we just kind of hold back on that for some reason. And, I'm here to help them understand why that is such a big need in the manufacturing space.
Absolutely. I think what I really hear from you, Gary, is like you wanted to make an impact, and working in a plant, you make an impact across one company, but here as a senior implementation manager, you get exposure and the opportunity to help at a very deep level many companies all across the world.
Exactly.
Stephanie, what about you? What led you to make that decision to transition from working in a manufacturing plant to tech and UpKeep?
Yeah, so I wasn't necessarily looking at the time to leave manufacturing as an industry, but I was looking for new ways to grow and develop. And as I started to casually look for roles, UpKeep, because it was part of the space, happened to pop up. And it really resonated with me because similar to what you've expressed, I saw there were so many opportunities for optimization, but for whatever reason, there was a little bit of a resistance to it. And so UpKeep really spoke to me. So ultimately, my jump into tech had more to do with my belief in UpKeep and what UpKeep was doing and the need for something like UpKeep. So I knew that I understood the product, but I also knew that I wanted to remain close to the industry.
That's awesome. We love having you here, Stephanie. Jeremy,
Happy to be here.
Jeremy, what led you to making that transition from working in the field to upkeep in tech?
Really, I needed a better work-life balance. My previous role was 24/7, so we had regular on-call schedules for emergency service. So on top of working my 40-hour work week, which wasn't always just 40 hours, I also worked nights and weekends when my turn in the rotation came around. Record was about 16 hours on a really nasty Saturday. Also functioning as a team lead, I need to be available by phone, pretty much all hours of the day to help walk my team through issues when they run job sites, and sometimes even go out there in the middle of the night to help walk them through something if I kind of saw them falling apart there. Upkeep it gave me the chance to still serve the maintenance community and help qualify new interest in the platform, especially coming off like a manual process. Implementing a system like this can be certainly induce some nerves, and I can tell them that we have a good process in place and that we can definitely help them. So happy to be here.
And Nate.
Thanks, Ryan. So what led to my decision moving into more of the tech role was really that I was able to see larger than myself and what that bigger impact can do for people at higher level outside of just being in those maintenance weeds. So it's really siloed in what you have an impact towards there. Yeah, you can perform well and you can get things done quickly and efficiently, but it doesn't really exceed beyond that. And really the change that needs to be understood from a higher level and make its way down throughout an organization, it isn't always there. And especially with those companies who support you, whether in service or within those products that they sell to you, that knowledge is not commonplace. And so when you're utilizing their software, just as the same experience as you do, you're burdened on a daily basis, and that frustration just grows and grows. So it's not fun. And at UpKeep, I get to take all that knowledge I've learned throughout the years and leverage it in my now tech role, which directly impacts every level of maintenance users throughout our customer base. So it's really something that we get to do and continue to grow our network, which is really cool. Plus, you can make more money in tech. So it's always better there, right? So nobody ever scoffed at that one.
I think one common theme that I hear across the board is like impact, being able to make a bigger impact across multiple companies. And I think that is absolutely true. The ability to deploy change, but then have it impact thousands of potential customers and clients all across the world. I feel like that's one of the big reasons that I personally made the jump from working in the field at a single company to building technology for thousands of companies all across the globe. So now I kind of want to like pivot a little bit and ask some individual questions to some of our own upkeepers, knowing their personal experiences of working in the field, transitioning into tech, and also working here at UpKeep. So maybe we'll start with Jeremy. Jeremy, I kind of want to ask you, like, what was the most challenging transition to your current role? And then, ultimately, was there anything that really excited you about working at UpKeep?
Oh, for sure. So I found that breaking in was probably my biggest challenge. I didn't think I had the typical background for something like this. And as I did my research, I learned about services like UpKeep, realized that my background could really help serve the community in a meaningful way, and that I can relate to them really well. I've experienced a lot of the same pain. And really, I feel that anyone with customer-facing experience could transition into a role like this, right? You're still just, soothing anxiety and answering questions and dealing with situations. And what excited me about UpKeep in particular is basically I'm the ICP. I felt the pain that a system like ours can solve, right, or help alleviate. Previous role, I needed to be available to my team 24/7 to help walk through issues. Feel like if they had a more easily accessible database of work at their fingertips, it takes a lot of the anxiety about, am I diagnosing this issue correctly? What has been done before? Because it was my experience, especially with onboarding new people on my team, that you know, they had some ability in maintenance, right? They could turn the wrenches, they could do the work, but trusting that the diagnosis, that they were following the correct steps, was probably the biggest initial hurdle. And that's true even across you know, experienced techs. Is my diagnosis correct? And the database of work for you know, any team is invaluable. And I just think that's true across the technician level and as you go higher up in the leadership roles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing that I've really seen you, Jeremy, do is empathize with our customers and people in the industry. And I think it's, you know, being able to work, having that previous experience of working in the field gave you that like next level empathy that I think, you know, you're absolutely amazing, Jeremy. I think also having that level of understanding has really enabled you to be so successful here at UpKeep. So really appreciate all the work that you do. Stephanie, I kind of want to ask you a similar question, but like, you know, how has your past experience helped you in aligning to UpKeep's overall purpose?
Yeah, I think that having experience at a TPM facility and being a part of standing up our pillars, hiring for all roles in the plant, and being a part of stretch assignments where I did help integrate newly acquired plants really helped me generate a solid understanding of operations. I've seen firsthand the value of metrics and data, and it's been an awesome experience to have been able to see how plants turned from cost centers to profit centers by implementing systems like UpKeep. It's easy to align with UpKeep's overall goal because it is creating that forward momentum and that optimization that's making employees' lives in their day-to-day so much easier. Ultimately, because you're providing tangible data to employees, they can really learn and see about their output and see how they're doing. And you get to feel that sense of pride that, for example, like a mechanic gets during their daily line meetings and they're bragging to another mechanic like, hey, look at my line and my shift. We're doing so much better, or look at how low our downtime is. So from a people perspective, UpKeep really can promote engagement and make people's daily work so much easier. So it's easy to have buy-in as a people partner.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually so cool that we have, you know, 4 people working in 4 separate departments here that all came from, you know, working in the industry. And just give everyone a little bit context. You know, Jeremy is on the sales team here at UpKeep. Stephanie is on the people team, the HR team here at UpKeep. Gary is on the customer success team. And then we've got Nate, who's also part of the, you know, we call it the Epic team, the engineering and product team here at UpKeep too. So it's actually really cool to hear your experiences, Stephanie, about like, you know, working in a plant, coming into HR, having that empathy of working, you know, in a manufacturing facility, hiring and recruiting people for the industry, but then also serving technology that supports that industry here at UpKeep. All right, I want to pivot over to Gary. As I just mentioned, Gary is in a customer-facing role. He is our senior implementation manager here at UpKeep. I want to ask you, what's your favorite part about working in this customer-facing role here at UpKeep? With the prior experience you had working the fields of both maintenance and reliability.
All right. So the first thing, Ryan, I love to see new clients come on board with UpKeep. Okay. Every time I get a new client, one that is coming off of paper, they have their data in an Excel spreadsheet. You know, my first thought is, wow, this may be a little tough to get them through, but then I know they're going to love this system once we have it in place. Okay. You know, the automation of our system is one of the best features that we could have provided. You know, I used to sit at my desk when I was in space for 2 and 3 hours a day, just importing data into this Word doc or Excel sheet or what have you, you know, and it would have just absorbed so much of my time. The automation changes all that. No more need to spend hours in front of a computer. The system does the work for you. Okay. And anyone that has worked with me knows that I use 2 slogans when dealing with clients. The first is the shock and awe factor. When a client sees their data in the system for the first time, they experience all the automation, all the custom setups, all this stuff. They're just blown away, you know? And the second, I think, is Miji's favorite, the warm and fuzzy feeling of confidence, protection by our system, and a general long exhale of security, knowing their data is not going anywhere and the system is going to be functional for their processes.
All right. I love it. The shock and awe, and the warm and fuzzies.
That's it. That's it.
All right. I love it. Thank you, Gary. Nate, I want to ask you, what's been your favorite part about working on the product team and a product facing role here at UpKeep, given your prior experiences working in the fields of both maintenance and reliability?
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, as a product manager, I'm really in a unique position because I get to really bridge the gap between what our customers need and what their expectations are and how we actually build the product. So I also, in turn, right, speak with a lot of our customers, and I'm able to empathize with them as I've been in many of those situations with them. So, right, I get to help align our customers' operations and their transactions and what they do by building products that are impactful and help take away some of that pain from the users. It's really cool. My ethos has always been, as a product manager, to make the product work for the user, don't make the user work for the product, right? And that's in every sense of the word, because when you're out there in a fleet operations and you're only provided an on-prem computer where you have to walk back into the maintenance space and type in, right? You have to write down part numbers and write down serial numbers and all this stuff. And then you go transcribe it back over into the system and back and forth. And you're doing things like that. Or if you're warehousing and stocking and you're walking around trying to take counts of stuff and then going back to a computer to log that in, it's really difficult, and it adds more to the day than really needs to be there. So right, I've seen some of these spaces, and right, I know how we can make them better, and I continually learn from our customers to make them better. So now at UpKeep, right, I take all that knowledge, I take all those burdens, and then I'm able to really see into these different environments and what we can process to make this better, right? Everybody's jobs are hard enough. We're just here to make it easier for them now.
Yeah. You got 2 thumbs up from Gary and a head nod.
Ultimate approval.
Exactly. Really appreciate the comments, Nate, and absolutely agree. It's cool seeing you in a product role and having that opportunity to make an impact, deploy a feature, and have it roll out to thousands of customers all across the globe. One thing that's uniquely common across everyone here, and also anyone that's thinking about making a transition from working out into the field and working in tech, is the kind of like, we kind of talked, Gary mentioned this like shock and awe. There's a shock and awe of like working out in the field every single day, and then working in tech, which is essentially, at least for here at UpKeep, we're a remote first company where you're actually working at home. And I kind of want to ask each one of you guys, how has that shift impacted your work-life balance? Maybe we could start with Jeremy. How has, from working in the field and the transition to working at home, impacted your work-life balance?
Oh, for sure, it's been life-changing. My wife and I don't have to scramble last-minute care for our son when he's sick or has a snow day, which oddly enough, he has a snow day today. UpKeep's remote culture has been great. Everybody's been really very accessible and helpful. We do a lot of fun different games here to keep everybody actively engaged. All the way up to the top. It wasn't very long ago, Ryan himself sent me a message that he just listened to some of the phone calls I've taken with prospects and gave me some really nice feedback. So I really appreciate that. And that's kind of the environment I came from. We're just, I had direct access to the owners of the company. And, I like that that's the same thing here. It's a bigger company that I come from, still feels very close. And I think the bonds you form with your team aren't really any different, even though we are remote, right? You still talk to them and see them every day. So it's been great.
Thanks, Jeremy. What about you, Nate?
Yeah, so I personally love working from home. This is always my desired place to be, this office. So it's great. And it alleviates all those stress of life that Jeremy just mentioned and the small schedule changes and things that you account for. But right, being in the maintenance space, I've had to work in freezing cold, pouring rain, monsoons, burning hot, all these different environmental things, which take a toll on your body and mind. And it just makes the job harder too. So it's funny seeing some of us from these industries where then we come into these remote roles and it's like, hey, I can do this all day. This is no problem at all. And right, just like our product, we're trying to alleviate some of those problems for our customers too. So UpKeep has just been phenomenal, and right, they provide us the gear we need. We get right good working equipment, which isn't always the standard in a maintenance space. You have some janky computer that you're trying to work on, or low light conditions and such. So and just yesterday, right, like keeping engaged with our whole company, we get sent packages for like Valentine's Day, like just super cool little cultural stuff like that, where our chief of staff Caitlin over here makes sure it happens for us all the time.
All right, shout out Caitlin.
Yeah.
All right, Stephanie, and how has the transition working in the office to working at home been for you?
It's changed my work-life balance drastically. The plant that I used to work at did run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as the human resource contact there, you basically had to be on call 24/7, whether it be for like an accident or an employee relations issue. And you always had that like gut-wrenching anxiety when you weren't at the plant that you might get called in because something happened. And I don't really have that anymore, so it's great. I'm incredibly grateful to UpKeep because being a remote employee, I am allowed to step away and not feel the pressure to be like constantly refreshing my emails on my time off to look for that next fire that I have to put out. And it's basically just allowed me to prioritize my self-care and really be present during my time off when I'm with my family. So ultimately, I can really give my full attention and full potential to both aspects of my professional life, but also my personal life.
Thanks for sharing, Stephanie. And last but not least, Gary.
Yeah, so I was working remote 2 years before the pandemic broke out, so I had a little bit of experience working remotely when I got to UpKeep. But the remote culture at UpKeep it's awesome. Okay, it definitely allows you to manage your work-life balance. Okay, not only that, but the whole entire company is like a big happy family that helps each other out whenever possible. If you have questions, you're not sure, what to do here, you need an answer for this, and instead of feeling like you're just sitting at your desk at remote island, all you have to do is ping somebody in Slack or DM them, and dude, you'll have a team of respondents just jumping in there and helping you through everything. I kind of learned that the hard way with Mickey and Rachel when I first started. They were like, hey, ping us. And, I had to learn that because never experienced that before. So a lot of reaching out, just love the remote environment here. The remote culture is just off the chain.
All right. Thank you so much, Gary, Nate, Jeremy, Stephanie, for sharing all your experiences, from working in the field to working here at UpKeep. And, I'm sure it's been immensely helpful to all of our listeners and attendants that joined our webinar today that are interested in potentially, joining the UpKeep team as well. So you all are here for a reason. I hope you joined because you're interested in actually learning a little bit more about some of the open opportunities here at UpKeep. Just so you know, we are hiring. We are actively hiring. We've got, I think, at least like 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 roles open from business development, sales development. We've got customer success. We have, several roles here at UpKeep that are open. We're actively hiring. If you're interested in potentially making the switch, working from in the field into UpKeep and building technology for field workers, you can reach out to us. You can either check out all the open roles at upkeep.com/careers. You can follow us on our LinkedIn page. We also have put our recruiter's direct email, Nikki Azodi, at onupkeep.com. So you can reach out to her as well if you're just even curious about different open roles and are interested in the space. So lots of ways to contact us. Really appreciate you all for joining us and hearing from 4 amazing UpKeep team members that have made this transition from working in the field to building technology for those in the field. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. Have a great, great rest of the day. Thanks, everyone.
Everybody.
Thanks, guys.